Badges don't grant extra rights. This is Cop Block Radio on the FPRN Radio Network. Here are your hosts, Eric, Adam, and Scott.
And welcome everybody to the Cop Block Radio Show for July 31st, 2013. You're listening to FPRN Radio and syndicated across the world, hopefully. And or you're listening to a podcast, which you can download anytime after the show at fprnradio.com. I'm your host, Eric, and with me tonight, as always, is Adam and Scott. How are you guys doing?
Good, man. Thanks. How are you? Rocking it?
Oh, yeah. So I guess tonight, we'll just go right into it. We have a special guest with us tonight. Scott, you want to introduce our special guest?
Yeah, so we have a little clip. Let's actually just, get right into it. We'll just cue in the clip, and we'll go from there.
Yeah. Got your ID on you?
I do, but I'm not going to give it to you.
I need it. Any ID on you? Sure that's who you are because you haven't showed me your ID.
Okay, well.
And I need to see your ID.
Are you refusing to show an ID?
Yes, I am. Sir.
Do you have an ID on you?
Yes, sir.
Do you mind if I look at it, please?
I'd rather you not look at it. One.
You got an ID or driver's license on yourself?
Yeah.
You stand with us?
Nope. Not going to do it.
So,
Yes, sir.
can I see your driver's license?
No, sir. What's your name and badge number?
Officer Carlson, ID 7345.
Do you have a name and badge number?
Yes, sir.
What's your name and badge number?
My badge number is 2154.
21. Can I get your name and badge number? Can I requested his name and badge number. He never gave it to me.
Okay. That's Deputy Crow, and I'm Sergeant Williams.
Okay, thank you. All right. Do you have a name and badge number?
I sure do.
Can I get that?
Aaron O'Reilly. My IBM number is Mike 886.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
All right, take care. Can I get your name and badge number?
No, sir.
You know, it's the law for you to give me that.
Kyle Burkett, Hotel 513.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right.
I'm free to go?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Am I being detained, or am I free to go?
You're free to go. You mind disengaging your recording?
Am I being detained?
I'm not a detainer. I'm not a...
Have a nice day. Am I being detained, or am I free to go?
Free to go whenever you want to.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, for those of you who didn't or didn't recognize that is the one and only Jeff Gray, aka Honor Your Oath. This is somebody that I've seen practically all of his videos, and whenever I was, coming into, this movement or this actually part of the, before I got into this show, I was, watching his YouTube channel, and it was really helping to show me what actually was occurring out there. So, Jeff, are you still with us?
I'm there. I'm here. How's it going, guys?
Jeff, thank you so much for coming on. I know that, between talking to Eric and Adam the past day and a half since we really started to solidify everything with getting you on the show, everybody was kind of, back and forth, and we're really excited to have you here, man. You do some amazing work, and, you're somebody that's, well-versed and also well-respected, so we really appreciate everything. So you want to do us a favor, let our audience know, a little bit about yourself, how you came to be, this YouTube rock star that you are.
I just want to say thanks, guys, for letting me be on there. It's an honor to be on Block Radio, and I was inspired by Cop Block. Photography is not a crime with Carlos Miller, and a demo with Cop Block, and Pete Air with Cop Block, and the guys that did all the checkpoint videos and all that stuff just kind of got me going, got me involved watching the Collective Rights videos, and I just wanted to get out there and do it in real life situations with real life police officers, and my main purpose was just to show people that you can assert your rights and how to assert your rights and how to do it in actual situations with cops and show that it actually does work. That was kind of what got me going with it and everything.
Now, the name of your YouTube channel is Honor Your Oath. Where did you, how did you come up with that? Because it seems so simple, and it's one of those man, I can't believe I didn't think of that. So what, how did you get to the point where you figured out, man, this would be it just seems like the name is perfect. You picked the perfect name.
Well, I kind of got that from I know you guys probably have seen when you're driving around, you see the blue line bumper stickers on regular cars that off-duty police officers drive, and it's kind of, they say it's to honor fallen law enforcement officers. I'm sure it is partially that way, but it's also a way for them to let other cops know that, hey, I'm a cop, don't pull me over, don't give me a speeding ticket. And I just wanted to take that blue line that they use to signal each other that they're cops. It's kind of almost like a gang color amongst each other. And I wanted to put honor your oath above it, just to kind of, put that out there in their face a little bit, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, we feel the same way. I've seen so many instances where you have somebody with, a thin blue line sticker on their car, and they're either, parked like an idiot, or they're speeding because they know they can get away with it, or, doing something that they know that the average person who doesn't belong to the big boys club, if that's that's how it seems like it is, that they're above the law essentially, and that's their secret handshake, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
So how long have you been doing videos and being an activist?
I think I'm 43 years old. I got kind of a late start in it. I started around 2009. But at the time, I had an old camera that was just kind of an old cassette camera that I didn't know how to convert to digital format. So I had quite a few videos on that. But then I finally got a digital camera and I figured out how to do the YouTube thing, and I created a YouTube channel. And about 2010 is when I started my YouTube channel, or 2011 is about the time I started my YouTube channel. And that's... just kind of getting out there. When I originally started the YouTube channel, my main thing was getting out there, and I wanted to expose speed traps that I see because I'm a truck driver, and I see a lot of stuff when I'm out there driving throughout Northeast Florida and South Georgia, and see a lot of speed traps. So the first thing I started doing was just kind of showing people where speed traps were, putting it on YouTube, try to keep people from getting looted by the pirates out there, and it's just kind of evolved from there.
Yeah, man, Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. What?
No, I was just going to say, it seems like you've done such a great job of pointing out, you're one of those guys that's out there all the time, and you see all the speed traps. And I've seen the videos that you have where you're, holding signs and flashing your high beams and stuff like that. Is there any instances where you felt like, man, I'm going to get arrested, or, you were arrested? Because I know that you're really good at, walking away, but I haven't really seen anything where you're, getting cuffed and stuffed or anything like that. Have you had any, really negative experiences?
Well, I remember when I was a kid, just kind of going back to the headlight flashing thing. When I was a kid, my dad did that all the time, and I saw other people doing that. Everybody warned each other of cops being up the road. People weren't so scared back then. You just don't see anybody doing that anymore, and that's kind of why I'm kind of promoting that. Flash your high beams. People that are on vacation in Florida, that's where I live down here in Florida, and on 301 out there you have Lottie and Waldo that are world famous speed traps. And if you get pulled over in one of these towns, you have a tight budget. Everybody's got a tight budget when they're on vacation. You get a ticket, a $300 ticket or so, and your whole vacation is screwed. So now I just try to promote people helping each other out and avoiding getting looted by these pirates out here. So
avoiding the extortion tax.
Yeah. I call them. I did one video of a really bad place up in Camden County, Georgia, which is on 95, which is just north of the Florida border. It's the first county you come to in Georgia when you're going northbound on 95. And I called it the revenue whores. That's what I called them. I called them the revenue whores. And I went to the sheriff's office there. And I said, I'm standing outside of the whorehouse, because that's basically what I think they are. They're just a bunch of damn revenue whores. And in Camden County, Georgia, I have a really special place in my heart that I can't stand those guys, because it's all about the civil asset forfeiture that goes on up there, where they're just taking money from people that has nothing to do with drug money or anything like that.
Yeah, I know that, we're talking back and forth here. I know Eric wanted to ask about, the drug trafficking stops and stuff like that. And this civil asset forfeiture, I'm not that familiar with it. And I know that it's something that sounds like just such a ridiculous, a ridiculous way for them to get, even more money out of people. Do you want to explain that a little bit?
For me to explain it?
Yeah, I mean, just, the Reader's Digest version, just because I know that there's other people out there who have no clue what this is if it's not going on in their area.
Okay, right. Well, civil asset forfeiture is, they've used the war on drugs as an alibi to attack our Fourth Amendment rights, basically, to erode our Fourth Amendment rights. And, along with no-knock drug raids and things like that, you have civil asset forfeiture. And basically, Scott, if me and you were driving through, say, Camden County, Georgia, and we're going to go buy a used car, and we have $5,000 cash on us, and we're the typical clueless Americans, we get stopped for a speeding ticket, and they say, well, can we search your vehicle? You got nothing to hide, nothing to worry about. Yeah, sure, go ahead and search your vehicle. Well, they find the $5,000 that we were going to use to buy this used vehicle, hypothetically. They can just seize that. They don't even have to charge us for the crime. They can take the money and send us on down the road, and all they have to do is say, we believe that this was used in drug trafficking. So that's kind of like a very Reader's Digest version of what civil asset forfeiture is.
It sounds to me like, police carry guns. That sounds like armed robbery in my book.
That's exactly what it is. Definitely what it is. Because what are you going to do about it? Specifically in Camden County, I believe it was back in 2008, when we had the bank crisis before the government used our money to bail out the banks. This one guy, he was from Kenya, and he had withdrawn all his savings. I think he had $50,000 in cash on him driving around with, which, I don't know how smart that is, but it's his right to do that if he wants to. But he had the misfortune of being pulled over in Camden County, Georgia, and they wanted to search his vehicle, and he let them search it, and they found that money, and they just took it. It was no relation to drugs whatsoever, but they just took it from him. And he had to spend, I think, almost $20,000 just to get that money back. And I think the story was even that the Camden County Sheriff's Department offered to pay him off. Well, look, we'll give you $15,000 of it back if you don't go get an attorney. So it's very, very corrupt, very, very bad news.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like there's so many times where they're basically making a plea. I've seen instances where the government is telling someone they want this much money, but they'll settle for this much as long as you don't get a lawyer involved, and basically just bow down. And all it is about money. It's not about protecting anybody. It's simply about money. So one thing that I was, you just seem so, all your videos, you can just see the confidence that you have and the knowledge whenever you're interacting with the law enforcement officers. And I was kind of curious as to how you became so knowledgeable. And, it takes a lot of guts to do some of the things that you're doing, and you're out there alone a lot of the time. So can you kind of explain how you became so knowledgeable, man? You're on it.
Yeah, I am out there alone because, I have a lot of friends, and I understand they're scared to get out there and do it with me. I'm starting to get a group of people up here in Northeast Florida that are going out with me now, which is pretty nice to have. My son goes with me every once in a while, my 13-year-old son Marcus. But the way I became knowledgeable really is getting on there and watching the Flex Your Rights video. Everybody knows about the Flex Your Rights video. Everybody that probably listens to this radio show and he knows about they never talk to the police. I watch those videos over and over and over again, and I just kind of practice it. And then I wanted to go out and test it in real life situations, and so I just started doing it. You got to make sure you have a camera. I have to have a camera on. Never do any of this stuff without at least one camera. I have 3 cameras that I carry on me, at least 3 cameras at all times. I have a camera, a backup camera, and a backup camera for my backup camera. So, but CopBlock was really big in that. Watching the videos of Ademo and Pete and Carlos Miller with his encounters that he had down at the train stations, the Metro Rail stations in Miami, and just watching the checkpoint videos. I love the checkpoint videos. Pastor Anderson, stuff that he does, and just inspired by guys like that.
Yeah, I mean, whenever I was, I was the guy that was up till 2:00 in the morning on my iPad on YouTube, just watching the checkpoint videos, and they will never, ever, ever get old for me. I think that they just, Some of them are hilarious. Some of them are sad, but they're all just, like we were talking about last night. They're just, they're an impartial witness.
Yeah. Oh, and one of the guys, back in the the early days was 40, and still is 4409. He's a big hero of mine. 4409 getting out there doing the red light camera vans and the checkpoint videos. That guy's great. Love what he does and everything too. So.
Yeah, I actually I've seen some of his videos, and I did you see the video that he did with the it was the 9/11 was an inside job, and it was beside like a marathon or something like that. And some people were giving him high fives, and some people were just really telling him off. But he just same way you are. That's just how it is, guys. You gotta accept it and get over it.
Yeah, and the thing about it, to be honest with everybody out there, I'd say about 6 years ago, I would have been the guy that would have been giving 4409 a hard time about the conspiracy theory of 9/11. And but now, to me, I just you open your eyes about it, and you see World Trade Center 7. I don't really want to get too much into that, but that just starts opening your eyes, and you start seeing things. You start seeing the government for what it is, and you kind of change your view on everything. Because I used to be a conservative Republican, that's disgusting. I know, gag me and all that stuff, but I was a Reagan Republican, and I was one of these guys that, if I saw somebody questioning the cops at a checkpoint or something, I was one of the guys that said, why are they doing that? Why are they giving the cops a hard time? They're out there, they're the guys that are protecting us and serving us, and I was really clueless about it all, and then I started just kind of opening my mind and just looking at the reality of it through YouTube. And like you said, you can be on YouTube until 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, just watching video after video, just amazing videos of people out there putting their butts on the line and asserting their rights. And there's people that ridicule them for doing that, but they're the ones. They're the true warriors out there fighting for freedom. Not so much the guys fighting for the banks and the corporations over in Iraq and Afghanistan. It's the guys like Adama Freeman who was maliciously prosecuted for a bogus wiretapping charge. He's the real liberty hero out there, the real liberty warrior, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, one thing that I noticed about you, Jeff, we for the listeners, we spent some time on the phone last night, and one thing that I really noticed about you was, you really do such a great job of pointing out the positive work that other people are doing. You're a very humble person, in my opinion, and I think that you dropped seven different names. You got to check this guy out, see what this guy's doing. You've already hooked us up with another guy from I think California to try to bring on the show. You just have such a great personality, and you work so hard. It's really encouraging. So thank you, man. We appreciate it. I guess there was a question that was in the chat, and somebody was trying to think. Oh, sorry. Now I lost my place. There was a question that came from the chat. Adam, do you have that question?
Yeah. Basically, the question in the chat is, as a truck driver, does it piss you off to be held to that higher standard with the weigh stations, the spot inspections, and other harassment by the police for driving the large vehicle?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. That's a really good question. It's probably come from another truck driver that understands that, when you're driving your personal vehicle, supposedly the police are supposed to have probable cause to be able to stop you. Well, when you're in a commercial vehicle, they can just randomly, absent suspicion, just stop you and perform inspections on the commercial vehicle. Now, your own personal property, and I've never had this happen before, but of course I would stand my ground if they tried to inspect any of my personal belongings. But, I work for a company. I have to keep them separate from my stuff because they told me that. But I work for this company. I've been employed for 19 years in the same company. But you basically have to let the state officers, is what they usually are. If they want to break the seal to the trailer, they want to climb up in the trailer, they want to inspect everything. They ask you where you're coming from, where you're headed to, and you're held to a higher standard. You have to answer these questions up to a certain point. Even with the blood alcohol, I think it's 0.08 nationwide. for the average, normal citizen with a regular driver's license, but a truck driver, our blood alcohol level is 0.04, I believe it is, and that's even if we're driving our personal vehicle. We don't have to be operating our truck; we can be driving our personal vehicle, and we have to go on these agricultural inspection stations, these weigh stations, and they do ask intrusive questions. Where are you coming from? Where are you headed to? And that just kind of goes against my nature, but I kind of have to answer that, up to a certain point when it comes to the commercial vehicle and the company that I work for. So
yeah, Jeff, I understand that. I commercially drive also myself for a company, and I understand that, having to basically answer any question that they demand out of you because of the commercial part of it.
Right, and I have had a situation where I was stopped one time. It was a random suspicionless checkpoint in Jacksonville. I was in the truck the company that I work for, and they stopped me, and I just got my camera out, just being me and just being my nature. I got my camera out, I set it up on the dashboard, and the DOT officer noticed it. And he said, "Why are you filming?" I said, "Well, I always document interactions with public officials and law enforcement. It's just for public record." And he went on this whole thing about how it's a felony, the whole wiretapping thing that we've all heard about. And I corrected him. I did it politely, like I always do, and I cited certain specific cases and stuff like that, and straightened them out. But they called my job a couple. The next day, when I came into work, I had a note on my card, to see the boss, and I had to go see the boss, and they had called and kind of dry snitched on me, and so you got to be real careful with that, because you'll wind up getting fired.
Yeah, it's really hard whenever your career kind of gets in the way of your true feelings, and sometimes you have to just kind of like take the lashings and just know that you're doing everything outside of work, because you have a job to do too. But thankfully your job doesn't come through taxation and extortion and theft at the point of a gun. There was one instance that we were talking about last night, and it was kind of the ones where you were a little bit more nervous interacting, and it had to do with the FBI, I believe.
Yeah.
You want to talk about that, because that's actually a video that I've seen. You want to talk to or tell our guests about that?
Yeah, I was kind of going in the spirit of pushing back against the whole, if you see something, say something. The whole report suspicious activity. The government's been propagating this paranoia out there of this phantom terrorist attack. Everybody with a camera is a terrorist. So I've been going out and going to the Jacksonville ports and getting my camera out, and refineries and the power plant stations. All this stuff is perfectly legal, but people think it's illegal because of this propaganda the government's putting out there. But so what I did at the FBI building was, I basically went out there. I was on a public sidewalk. It's in Jacksonville on Gate Parkway, and if you go on Google Earth and our Google Street View, you can see all of this stuff at much more detailed levels than you can somebody standing out there with an iPhone recording from the sidewalk. But that's the point that I was making. And I just kind of stood out there. I did a little panoramic shot of the FBI building, and I put the camera up, and showing me in the FBI building in the background. I said, "How long do you think it'll take before somebody comes out here and says it's illegal?" And as I'm saying that, the security guards yelling at me, "No, you can't do that. It's illegal. Turn the camera off. They don't like it." And then I started going into my whole thing about, well, what's the statute? What statute makes it illegal and everything? So I thought that was kind of funny. I wasn't even able to complete my sentence about how long do you think it'll take before somebody comes out and says it's illegal. Then you got the security guard yelling at me before I even able to finish the sentence. So
you seem to have a couple of those videos where you just start talking, and then it takes 2 seconds for them to jump all over you.
Yeah, it's amazing, and I mean, I understand. I understand that if I'm standing across the street from a refinery and I'm taking pictures of it, okay, a security guard comes out and he says, "Sir, what are you doing?" And, "Well, I'm a journalist gathering content for a story." That's my go-to line. And I'm engaged in constitutionally protected activities safeguarded by the First Amendment. I have no ill will. I'm just taking pictures. I'm gathering content for a story. and then if they say, okay, well, it's kind of suspicious, but they walk away, they observe a report. But the things that's not the way they do it. They come storming out after you, and they're saying, and they actually make statutes up. I had the guys where I was filming outside a prison one time. The guy actually made a statute up. I asked him, what's the statute that makes it illegal to film a prison from a public sidewalk or from a public place? And he actually made a statute up. It's illegal. It's a felony. They turn your camera off. Let me see what you got on your camera, or delete what you got on your camera. And that's where I have a problem with it, and I stand my ground. And it's a good thing because, then I'll send them a link to the video, and I'll go out there a couple of weeks later and do the same thing. And it's obviously they've learned their lesson that photography is not a crime, and they don't come out and try to accost me or try to tell me that's illegal and turn my camera off. So that's kind of what I'm doing with that.
Do you use any live streaming apps when you're out?
I don't use any live streaming apps. I've tried them, and it's not saying that there's not any out there. That it's more probably just me not being very tech savvy. But there's none that I've actually tried that I feel confident in. I don't feel confident enough in them to feel that if something critical happens that I have to have on tape to keep me from going to jail and keep me going to prison, that it's going to be there. I have 100% confidence in that.
You use an iPad a lot, though, right?
Well, the equipment that I use, I have two iPods. I have a newer 5th generation iPod that I'm using right now as my main camera because my camcorder, I dropped it the other day and I broke it. So I'm using that as my main camera, and it's very crucial to have a backup camera. And I always have a 4th generation iPod that has a vertical flip case. You know what I'm talking about? And I hang that from my shirt collar, and it's a 64 gigabyte. So I start recording from the second I arrive on a scene where I know I'm going to be doing activism. I turn it on, I start recording, and I always record from the lock screen. I always record from the lock screen. So if the police take my camera and turn it off and stop the video recording, which has happened to me quite a few times, it's already in the lock screen. So when they try to bring it back up, they can't erase it. You know what I mean? You know what I mean by that?
Yeah, I do the same thing with like my cell phone and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, I have Apple products. That's what I just want to have, just happen to have, and I always record from the lock screen. It's very important to record. I don't care if you're interacting with the dog catcher or the governor of the state or a police officer. If it's a government official, record everything that happens. Record it all. Document everything for your own safety. That's pretty much my rule about that. You have to document it. You have to record it, all of it.
Yeah, one of the things is it's so nice to have that impartial, and that's one of the big things that we talked about last night was how whenever you get up on the stand, it's you versus them, and you have to have that impartial. This is just how it is, guys. Sorry. If we all acted accordingly, we wouldn't have to be in this situation.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And I'm going back about 20 minutes ago. The question was asked: is when have I ever actually been arrested? And was I ever scared? I was arrested in Lottie. I was out there. I was standing on the sidewalk. Lottie is a world famous speed trap town. They actually have their own. AAA actually puts up billboards on the north end of Lottie and the south end of Lottie on US 301, warning people, speed trap ahead.
Yeah. Hey Jeff, we're gonna go ahead and go to break. If you would, just please stick with us, and we'll be back in a couple of minutes. You're listening to the Cop Block Radio Show.
Gasoline and high inflation burning up.
In 1997, a high school shooting was stopped by a vice principal with a gun. In 1998, a middle school shooting was ended by a neighbor with a gun. In 2002, a terrorist attack was stopped by a school guard and a teacher with a gun. After September 11th, pilots began carrying guns to protect their passengers. Let's give our schools and teachers the same option. Sign the petition at defendschools.com.
Hi, I'm Trevor Moore. Due to the recent revelations that in order to fight terrorism, the NSA has been using a secret court order to spy on every single Verizon and AT&T customer, Americans have become outraged and concerned about their rights to privacy. But along with that concern comes a feeling of hopelessness. I mean, what can we do? Vote in new leaders? Well, the problem is that during an election, each candidate pretends to not be an asshole. Then when they get the job, they reveal that they've actually been a complete asshole this entire time. No, elections are of no use. The only way to fight back against our country's excessive wiretapping and data mining is to make it irrelevant. That's why we're launching Operation Everyone Talk Like a Terrorist all the time. If we all openly discuss terrorist plots in each of our phone conversations, then eavesdropping on those phone conversations becomes pointless. It's simple. We just need to work it into our daily vernacular. For example, instead of saying, "I love you," you could describe a terror attack. The larger the scale, the more you love the person.
Hi, Mom. I just got out of school. Can you pick me up?
I'll be there in 15 minutes. We use a truck bomb to blow up the Brooklyn Bridge.
I'm mailing anthrax to Pierce Morgan.
Or, nonsense about God's will being great could mean affirmative.
Hey, man, they have a 7:30 showing. Do you think you can make it in time?
God is merciful and his love is unchanging. Did you already get me a ticket?
And those are just a few examples. You can make up your own. Have fun with it. But it's time for us to stand up and protect our rights. Because those assholes aren't going to.
Nothing is more American than Diamond Gusset jeans. 100% American made since 1987. Soft and broken in from the start, yet more rugged and durable than any jean you've ever worn. Have you ever experienced missized jeans from China? Well, you won't with Diamond Gusset. Every pair is crafted to fit exactly the same and always feel like they were custom made. Need a 35, 37, or 39 waist? How about a 31 inseam? We keep all sizes in stock for the fit you need. Looking for a relaxed fit, slim fit, regular fit, boot cut, or straight leg? We got you covered. Buy the world's best fitting jeans at Gusset.com or call 1-888-8GUSSET. Get free Gusset targets for the next time you go to the shooting range with the purchase of their new Ranger jean. Use code COMFORT when ordering to receive free shipping on all Gusset orders at Gusset.com. That's Gusset.com to get only the best all-American jeans.
Hello, fellow patriots. This is Joseph Nazari, Director of Training Operations with Line of Fire, LLC, Professional Firearms Training Group, located in Las Vegas, Nevada. The fact that you're listening to this show is evidence to me that you are a true patriot and you do value your freedoms. As all patriots know, with freedom comes responsibility, and if you own a firearm, training should be an integral part of your personal defense profile. If you're considering quality firearms training, Line of Fire LLC should be your first choice. We teach all types of firearms training for all types of individuals, from the novice to the most advanced shooters. At Line of Fire LLC, we have a course for you. Please, feel free to call us today at 702-242-8288. We look forward to speaking with you soon. Once again, that's Line of Fire LLC, 702-242-8288.
Oh God, please help me. He's got a knife. You have reached the 911 emergency service. All operators are busy. Stay on the line for the next available emergency operator. You have reached the 911 emergency service. All operators are busy. Please stay on.
911 operator, what's your emergency, please? Hello? Hello? Hello?
Last year in the United States, thousands and thousands of 911 calls went unanswered. And if you call from a cell phone, there's no way to pinpoint where you are. Yet politicians like Dianne Feinstein call for more gun control. We have one question. Why do these politicians have armed bodyguards? Can't they just call 911?
Thanks for listening to FPRN. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Twitter. You can listen live at www.fprnradio.com.
Will you sound out a warning when you see the signs in the sky? But in the land of the blind, it's a crime to exist with an eye.
And welcome back to the CopBlock Radio Show live on FPRN and hopefully syndicated across the interwebs. Or you can download us in podcast form after the show on FPRNradio.com. With us tonight we have Jeff Gray from the YouTube channel Honor Your Oath. And Scott, you want to give out the call-in information?
I'm like constantly muting myself. I always forget. We did talk about it in the chat, but the call-in number is 567-314-9296. And then the passcode is 1234, and then the pound sign. That'll get you in and talk to our producers, bring you online. The other way you can get a hold of us is at FPRN Radio on Skype. Add them at FPRN Radio live, and that's the preferred method. It just has better quality. You know, you can always tell the difference whenever somebody Skypes in versus the call in. So, if you have any questions for Jeff or you want to talk to Eric, Adam, or myself, please call in.
And I think, Adam, you had something you wanted to ask Jeff.
Yeah, basically, I know we ask a lot of our guests the same question, but I like to hear the different opinions from each guest. Jeff, what would be your advice for anyone going out and filming the police in an interaction? Obviously, you have a lot of experience in this and handling this very well. But what would be your advice to someone to go out if someone went out and was trying to do what you do?
If you're going to go out, I go out by myself a lot. I don't really recommend that. I recommend that you have more than one person. I recommend that you have more than one camera. Like I said earlier, have a camera, a backup camera for your backup camera. Always record. I have an iPhone, so I always. Sorry, that's my dog. I always record from the lock screen. So, or if you have some sort of live streaming, use that if you feel confident in it. And make sure you protect your video, because that's what's gonna. If it does get to the point to where you do get arrested, you have to have that video to protect you and keep you from being maliciously prosecuted. Because we've all seen how the police officers lie, and then the judges always support what the police do most of the time. So, go out with more than one person, have more than one camera, and make sure you have some sort of protection for the video that you do gather of the events that happen. And, just make sure you know your rights. Make sure you know how to ask if you're being detained or if you're free to go. Make sure to how to assert your Fifth Amendment right to remain silent. Just do a lot of research before you go out there. Watch a lot of the videos. There's thousands of them out there now. Go to CopBlock and check them out. Photography is not a crime. Check them out and watch people's videos that have done it over and over again before you go out there.
Now, what is your best recommendation for handling an officer that obviously has become very aggravated with the fact that you're filming him and is becoming very aggressive?
Well, with me personally, I keep a pretty cool demeanor about the situation. I try to remain calm. I try to make sure that my camera's constantly on him, and I just politely yet assertively, flex my rights. And I just kind of let him or her, whatever officer it might be, react however they're going to react. If they react and they're cool, just document it. Or if they react and they're the aggressor, they're the ones that are cursing, they're the ones that are making a fool of themselves, and they're the ones that are going to do the illegal arrest. Just keep your cool and let them make the fool out of themselves, and just make sure you're documenting it as you go. And that doesn't necessarily mean, because there's guys out there, that's my particular style. That's the way I do it. That's the way I recommend it. But then you have guys out there like Daniel Stallman, and me and Scott were talking to him earlier, and he's amazing. He's completely 180 degrees the opposite of me. But he gets right in the cop's face. He's yelling at him. He's telling them to shut their effing mouth and everything like that. So, you got your own style. But the most important thing is just to make sure you got to have a camera. And you got to protect the video through a lock screen or through live streaming. to make sure that you have some sort of evidence to prove that you were not the person, you weren't doing whatever you're going to be accused of doing, basically.
Yeah, that reminds me of a video I seen the other day. I don't know if that was actually his video or not, of a gentleman yelling at the police and cursing at them, and it was funny because the cop had told him he was interfering with his investigation, and the gentleman responded back with some foul words and then repeating that same thing, and the cop had no idea what to say. No clue. He just stood there dumbfounded for at least 10-15 seconds with no response. And it was the best video that I've seen for a while.
Yeah.
Wait, are you saying that the guy, when the cop said you're impeding my investigation, he said back to him, you're impeding my investigation?
Yeah, the guy responded back and said that there was some foul words in it too, but yeah, he said you're interfering with my investigation. Him obviously being the one recording the police officer.
Yeah,
and the police officer had no idea what to say back.
Oh, I'm totally using that next time.
His YouTube channel has actually been, I wanted to kind of discuss him a little bit. Daniel Solomon, his YouTube channel was terminated, and I'm kind of concerned with that, but we were just talking to him before we came on the air, and he said he has I think he said he has a blog that's, You're Mistaken Bacon. That's one of his lines that he goes to, When a cop is wrong about a law, he says, "You're mistaken, Bacon." And I just love that. And I know one time, there was like a tow truck driver or something that got out of his tow truck and was like, "Yo, man, stop filming me, man. You can't be filming my tow truck." And Daniel Solomon just went at him with a, shut your effing mouth, MFer, and just going off on it. And they don't know what to do. They don't know how to react to it. It's like Daniel Solomon, to me, he's like you watch those nature shows where you see a grizzly bear, and they come across this badger in a hollowed out tree or something. And the grizzly bear's like, okay, I got something easy right here. And he starts messing with him, and all of a sudden the badger, you see the grizzly bear taking off and running with his tail tucked between his legs. That's what Daniel Solomon reminds me of. He's awesome. I love the guy. He's great. Everybody's got their own unique style. So
he's like a honey badger.
Where can you find him?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, where can we find him now, Jeff? I got his some of his contact info, but I know his YouTube channel was taken down, and I want to try to spread the word. And you have any idea what is the URL for his blog or anything like that?
I have no idea because he just called me tonight. That was the first time I talked to him. I had him on conference call with Scott, and I'll call him back and I'll get back in touch with you guys and give you the information that you need on how to get back in touch with him. I wish we could get him on here somehow with us right now and talk to him. If you want to have a show,
it's funny you say that. I'm actually, he's texting me back and forth because, we literally talked right before the show whenever you and I were working on some stuff, and he's apparently without a computer right now, and he's trying to find a hot spot, and it sounds like he's having quite the issues, but he does want to, join us next week, which is awesome.
Yeah, you'll have a good show with him. You could tell just by the couple of minutes that we talked, that he's a lot more energetic than I am. I'm kind of laid back and everything, but he's very entertaining. For that guy,
so are his videos archived anywhere else, or are they just there?
I'm not sure. I know that his YouTube was terminated. I think he may have had a couple of videos on LiveMeet, possibly. But I'm not really sure.
Now, do we know why his YouTube channel was shut down?
From what I hear, I was talking to a guy named Pete, and Pete's helping him out a lot. I think Pete helped him set up the You're Mistaken Bacon blog, and Pete was saying that it's most likely something to do with the police calling in and maybe putting in privacy complaints. I know I personally had a video where I went into the Jacksonville Main Library, and the reason I went in there is because they were searching people's bags, and it was upon condition of being able to enter the library. And I was doing a video and exposing that. And one of the guards, I can't be for sure if it was her or not, but she said she didn't consent to being filmed. And I told her, well, no, it's a public space. You have no expectation of privacy. We all know that. But I believe it was her that complained to YouTube, so YouTube removed the video for privacy violations. So there's ways for them to get at you through that. And I don't know if I should be saying that or not, but there's ways for them to get your videos taken down through stuff like that, through complaining.
Well, good news is it looks like his videos seem to be up if you go to mistakenbacon.com.
Oh, okay, cool.
And for those who are searching him by his name, it's spelled a little different than normal. It's Saulmon, so it's a little different than what it sounds like.
Yeah, the other way to find him, he actually has a new YouTube channel, is called Tom Zebra. It sounds quite. I don't know where he came up with that, so we can ask him hopefully next week. But yeah, it was mistakenbacon.com. He just got back to me.
Okay, cool. And I know that he established a. If you go to photographyisnotacrime.com, Carlos Miller's website, and in the forum section, I believe Pete, this real nice guy named Pete, linked to his PayPal account for him to help to raise funds for his cause. And that's on photographyisnotacrime.com in the forum section. It should be something about Daniel Saulmon. You should be able to find it there if you want to help him out and donate to him.
So one of the videos that we kind of talked a little bit about last night was you did some, and I know that actually, let's talk about this video. Then I would definitely want to get into the call flood thing, but there was, I don't know if you want to call it a loophole or an oversight on behalf of the state of Florida in regards to carrying a firearm while fishing, and there was some pretty good stuff that you were doing with that. If you want to talk about those videos.
Okay, yeah. Well, everybody's seen the open carry videos. Really, really interesting and a lot of times very intense videos where people open carry. Well, Florida is one of, I think it's like 14 states where open carry is restricted. And believe it or not, Texas is one of those states where open carry is restricted. And you wouldn't think that, but in Florida, if you're fishing, hunting, camping, at a shooting range or traveling to or from such an event, you can open carry a firearm. And I'm a part of, there's a website, Florida Carry, and they do a lot of important work for Second Amendment rights in the state of Florida. They've helped me out quite a few times when somebody called the Department of Children and Family Services on me, and they helped me out with that. Eric Friday is the attorney's name. I don't know if he really wants me to mention him, but he kicks ass. He's awesome. He's a great attorney. And but anyway, so I've open carried with Jacksonville Open Carry, and we're kind of affiliated with Florida Carry, and we've open carried at the Jacksonville Beach Pier with no problems. Lake City, St. Augustine, Green Cove Springs, and quite a few different places. We'll go out as a group and we open carry and we fish, and we show people that there's nothing to be afraid of peaceful citizens, law-abiding citizens, peacefully carrying a firearm. And that's our whole goal. We want to move Florida into being a normal open carry state. But anyway, I was down in Palatka and I was testing the open carry down there, and the Putnam County Sheriff's Department. The sheriff claims to be a real big supporter of the Second Amendment. He's endorsed by the NRA and a few different sportsman clubs, and brags about how great he is with the Second Amendment. He'll never follow any federal orders to confiscate firearms. We've all heard that. But here I am, perfectly legal, open carrying while fishing, and basically Putnam County Sheriff's Officer Deputy Griffin, he detained me. He removed my firearm from me. He unloaded my firearm. While he was unloading my firearm, he actually pointed it at me. And he actually was one of the few law enforcement officers that doesn't know that it's legal to film them in a public space. He removed my cameras and stopped the recording, and I was detained for 45 minutes. I was handcuffed, detained for 45 minutes, and I had to explain to approximately 9 Putnam County Sheriff's officers and 3 City of Palatka police officers to look up statute 790.25 subsection H, which is what explains that it's perfectly legal to open carry while fishing and hunting and camping in the state of Florida. So they detained me for 45 minutes, violated my Fourth Amendment rights by removing my property, violated my First Amendment rights by removing my cameras and turning them off. So Florida Carry is going to help me out with that situation. We're gonna take care of that through Florida Carry and their attorneys.
One of the other things that we talked about is, and it's really important, and I think that it's often undervalued, and it's just call floods. And I know that you've participated in, and you've actually had some people participate in your own call floods. Do you want to get into that?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. That's really important. I think that's a really important thing about what's going on with CopBlock and Antonio Bueller and Peaceful Streets and Photography is Not a Crime is, years ago, before we had YouTube and digital cameras and iPhones and, Android devices, it came down to the police officer's word against the citizens. And, we know the judges almost always take the police officer's word against the citizens. But now, people are figuring out to record you got to record it. Any interaction, like I said earlier, you got to record it. Put it on YouTube and then people, it'll be posted at CopBlock, and they'll say this happened at such and such sheriff's department. Here's the number to the sheriff's department. People will call and they'll put pressure and let them know that they can't just run over this person and trample their rights. And I love the call flood aspect about what's going on with the movement that we're all involved in and helping each other out. Now, like with Antonio Bueller in Austin, when he was taking a picture of an injustice that he saw happening with the female that was being accosted by the two Austin police officers, Borsky, and so he took a picture that they were basically manhandling the passenger, from what I understand, and then when the cops saw Bueller taking the picture, they turned their aggression towards Bueller and they started assaulting him, and they attacked him, and they claimed that he spit in their face. Well, thank God, for Bueller, another citizen, and this is what's key to CopBlock and CopBlock. There was another citizen across the street who had the courage to take out his whatever recording device it was and document what was happening, and that contradicted what the police said. So that wasn't just the police, the cops' word against Antonio Bueller's word. Now you have video evidence that shows that the cops were lying their butts off like they do constantly, and help another citizen just having the courage to take his camera out and document what happened. Probably kept Antonio Bueller from being sent to prison for quite a few years.
So I don't know if this goes a little beyond what you'd want to talk about, but you had made a video in the past that you were having some issues with CPS.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if you want to talk about that or not.
Yeah, that's fine. That's the thing. I want to talk about it. That's one of the things that and in Florida, it's the Department of Children and Family Services, the DCF, and that's one of the things they rely on. Is they rely on it's an embarrassing thing. It's a humiliating thing. So, yeah.
If you don't mind, I'd like to say something about how they interviewed us.
This is my son Marcus Gray. He's 13 years old, and the Department of Children and Family Services went to his school
before informing him that they had even done or known anything about us.
Yeah, so I didn't even know anything about it. They're at the school. They're pulling him out of the class, and they're interrogating him.
Not to mention he was partially disabled at the time.
But tell them what did they say? What kind of questions did they ask you?
Well, they read me a letter that they had got sent in. Dad fires guns. Dad keeps guns in home. Dad is scary or something like that. And they told me that at school they were asking me all kinds of questions. I just kept on saying no, no, no.
What type of questions?
Well, I did say yes to, does your father have guns in the house? And I said, yeah. And there's stuff like, does your father ever fire the guns? I said, no, not really. So, just stuff like that.
Right. So basically, they go to the school based on an anonymous call. We all know about how anonymous calls work and how they're abused and everything. And they interrogate my children at school without my knowledge. It wasn't even my consent because I didn't even know about it. Then they come to my house, but the key to that is that I documented everything, even the phone calls. When the investigating agent would call me, I would let her know, if you want to talk to me, I'm recording this phone call for public record.
I wish I would have had
And if you come to my house, I'm recording this phone call for public record. I recorded everything. I documented everything. I put it on YouTube. I contacted Pete Ayer. I let him know about it. And that's one of the things I love about the Cop Block guys is they are sincere. They are genuine. They're the real deal. I let Pete know about what was going on with them investigating me. And Pete wrote a nice article about it and posted it on Cop Block within a couple of hours. And that's what I love about the whole call flip thing, and us all working together to help each other out.
I wish I would have had a camera at the time, but they probably would have confiscated it from me or something like that.
Yeah, because you're in school. So hopefully I'm answering your questions. I'm not getting distracted on you, am I?
No, that's nice good to hear your story and kind of the overstep that they seem to take in Child Protective Services. We've done a few stories about that.
They had an anonymous call that the insinuation was that I owned firearms was the insinuation, which should not have generated a investigation in the first place. Then they go and they investigate you. They interrogate your children at school, asking questions about me, if I'm a bad dad, if I abuse them or anything like that.
Scared the pants off my sister.
Yeah, or my little girl, scared her, terrified her. And eventually, the investigation, of course, turned up because we're a good family. We're just your average family trying to make it. And they cleared us on anything. But, still here I have an investigation on my record. If you hear news stories where they talk about, this family's been investigated by DCF, well, that doesn't mean a thing because the anonymous call systems are abused. And everybody knows that.
Yeah,
no.
Sorry.
No, go ahead, Adam. I was just gonna say that I know in Pennsylvania those issues with CPS, even though you've been cleared or someone's cleared that there wasn't a problem, that stays on a record for I think like 4 years. So if something in the future would happen again, they can actually bring that back and use that against you. Now, is there anything like that in Florida that you know of?
Exactly. It's exactly that way. It's there. You've been investigated. It's on the records, and they can always come back and use that against you. Even though you were cleared by their own investigator as a good family, just the fact that you're investigated. And it all goes back to an anonymous call system where anybody can call and make any accusation they want. And it has to be a really outrageous accusation for DCF or CPS to investigate the caller, because they have this anonymity that protects them and allows them to accuse anybody that they want to and use the system to bludgeon people they don't like, basically. And now I forgot what I was going to say, but that's the problem with the anonymous phone call systems. And of course, these Child Protective Services, they have no incentive to investigate the caller because the calls that they get guarantees them job security. Now they got as many calls as they get. We're overwhelmed with calls. We need more money to be able to investigate more calls and more, claims. And you know how it is. You know how the government works. They don't want to resolve the issue. They just want to get bigger and grow more and have a bigger budget.
All right. Well, we have to head to break. After the break, we still have Jeff with us, so stick with us. You're listening to Cop Block Radio on FPRN.
Mr. President, members of Congress, You've been making a lot of noise about taking our guns away. But you might want to review history. 1835, Gonzales, Texas Territory. The authorities wanted to confiscate the big gun that protected that colony. You know what the people said? Come and take it. Because they were willing to fight for their freedom and their guns. So are we.
Come and take it if you want it. Come and take it if you think you can. Come and take it, but I warn you, you'll have to pry it from my cold dead hands. We want the freedom that God gave us, so you best not cross that line. If you want this gun, you gotta come through us and take it.
One shot at a time. Just like Gonzales, we're keeping our guns.
Hello, fellow patriots. This is Joseph Nazari, Director of Training Operations with Line of Fire LLC, Professional Firearms Training Group, located in Las Vegas, Nevada. The fact that you're listening to this show is evidence to me that you are a true patriot and you do value your freedoms. As all patriots know, with freedom comes responsibility, and if you own a firearm, training should be an integral part of your personal defense profile. If you're considering quality firearms training, Line of Fire LLC should be your first choice. We teach all types of firearms training for all types of individuals, from the novice to the most advanced shooters. At Line of Fire LLC, we have a course for you. Please feel free to call us today at 702-242-8288. We look forward to speaking with you soon. Once again, that's Line of Fire LLC, 702-242-8288.
In every age, a technology is created that upends the foundations of society. The wheel, the printing press, the internet. Now, in a world sliding into financial chaos, a new technology is changing the way monetary systems work around the world. It is called Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a new form of money, controlled not by banks, governments, or corporations, but through mutual commerce between free individuals. To learn more, visit WeUseCoins.com.
Talk about a wake-up call. I was paying for all the doctor's visits, insurance premiums, and medical costs out of pocket. All these expenses were keeping me from living the carefree lifestyle that I wanted. Then the government told me about Obamacare. Now with Obamacare, I don't worry about my health care. I eat whatever I want, whenever I want. I get all my prescription drugs for free, and there's no more coverage gap. I no longer need to worry about pre-existing conditions. We can see any doctor whenever we want for any reason, and so can everyone else.
Obamacare is not for everyone, like Congressman. If you are already healthy, do not use Obamacare, as you will see your premiums go up. If you are a sick person, do not use Obamacare, as you will see your premiums go up. Many people on Obamacare may experience longer wait times and fewer doctors, and denial of your treatment of choice. If you are faced with a healthcare situation, you may be denied treatment through government rationing.
Obamacare even covers my kids up to age 26.
If you experience a recession lasting more than 4 years, stop taking Obamacare and contact a travel agent to move to the Bahamas or New Zealand.
And the best thing is that Obamacare is free.
Obamacare is not free. Obamacare will increase the national debt by $863 billion in 10 years. Your taxes will go up $569 billion by 2019. If you see a major jump in your premiums, you should opt out of Obamacare immediately. Opting out of Obamacare is illegal and will incur major fines and penalties unless you are a union member who received a special waiver from the Obama administration. Obama is not responsible for the negative effects on the economy, your pocketbook, your freedoms, or your health.
Obama solved all my problems.
Obamacare. Live your carefree lifestyle.
Nothing is more American than diamond gusset jeans. 100% American made since 1987. Soft and broken in from the start, yet more rugged and durable than any jean you've ever worn. Have you ever experienced missized jeans from China? Well, you won't with Diamond Gusset. Every pair is crafted to fit exactly the same and always feel like they were custom made. Need a 35, 37, or 39 waist? How about a 31 inseam? We keep all sizes in stock for the fit you need. Looking for a relaxed fit, slim fit, regular fit, boot cut, or straight leg? We got you covered. Buy the world's best fitting jeans at gusset.com or call 1-888-8GUSSET. Get free Gusset targets for the next time you go to the shooting range with the purchase of their new Ranger jean. Use code COMFORT when ordering to receive free shipping on all Gusset orders at gusset.com. That's gusset.com to get only the best all-American jeans.
Thanks for listening to FPRN. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Twitter. You can listen live at www.fprnradio.com.
Changes, rearrange your brain, ninja gate, and secret agent dreams will make you think creative. Check it out, a trick I happen to find one day accidentally while passing the time. A game to play that makes magic arise. Close your eyes, look at the back of your mind. Now turn around and move to the front. Upward and down, turning two into one. Change your surroundings till you have become a musical sound produced by tunes and a drum.
And we are back on the CopBlock Radio Show on FPRN and syndicated across the internet. Or you can download a podcast version after the show, FPRNradio.com. I'd like to give a big thanks to our sponsor, Diamond Gusset. You should go check them out over at gusset.com. They're 100% American-made jeans, both in construction and in the raw materials. So you should check them out. And if you want to advertise on FPRN like them, you can go over to to FPRNradio.com. FPRNradio.com, and there's an advertise tab there, and you can contact the producers, and they'll hook you up. So with us tonight, we have Jeff Gray from Honor Your Oath, and we've been talking to him for the past hour, so we will continue doing that.
So we should see if Diamond Gusset will hook us up with some jeans if we give him some shirts.
A little cross promotion.
Yeah, there you go. That'll work perfect. Speaking real quick, Jeff, of the topic of CPS, I'm pretty sure most of us have our own nice opinions of CPS. I know here in Washington, when someone calls in CPS, they cannot remain anonymous. They have to tell CPS who they are. But they can keep that away from the person they're investigating and say it's anonymous. At least here in Washington State. I don't know about other states, but they have to do that to keep from false calls being called in and being able to prosecute false calls. You know, I've had my share of incidents with them of obvious, I don't know, they called them anonymous calls that were just off the wall. What are you doing? Investigating, and the same with the keeping track of how many calls you get in and using that against you. I know applies here also.
Right. This is like the story that we talked about. It was also in Florida, where they had something like $1.5 million put towards this call-in service where you could call in if you thought your neighbor was doing something weird or whatever, and they'd go do a welfare check and see what's going on. So this is a prime example of what type of abuse can take place in a system like that.
Mm-hmm. Right, and it's also, it's a prime example because the sheriff was, I can't remember what county that, it might have been around Fort Pierce down there, south of me. But the sheriff was going to roll this out. It was basically a tattletale line. Like, we don't have enough tattletales out there. I can stand tattletales. But, and there was a big, it was put out there by the alternative media, and people were outraged by it, and people started calling the sheriff's department saying, screw this, man. We're not going to put up with this stuff. And the sheriff recalled the program. He never let it go forward because of that. So, that's the citizens speaking out. The alternative media and the call clubs and everything. That's a good thing.
I heard somebody suddenly click in. Did somebody want to talk?
Sorry.
Yeah, everybody's like unmuting and unmuting their mics. I don't want to be the guy that's sitting there typing and talking, and you guys can hear me typing again. I'm getting better at it. I'm working on it. So one of the things that that I saw on your videos was this whole, and we talked about last night, was this whole Whiskey Mike thing. What was the deal? I mean, do you have an official new, code name, or is that like your pseudonym or whatever you want to call it now? What's going on with that?
I think that's pretty funny. It's kind of like Daniel Salmon doing starting the mistakenbacon.com, which I just love that. It's hilarious. But just multiple times in my videos, if you watch my videos going all the way back, you have, and one of them was a Jacksonville sheriff's officer. He referred to me. He's calling in on his radio, and I'm standing there. What I was doing was I was doing my citizen checkpoint thing, where I was filming all the cops coming out of their motor pool not wearing their seatbelts. The whole clicker or ticketed thing and the double standard. I was documenting them not wearing their seatbelts, and so I'm standing there filming them coming out of the police station. But anyway, this Jacksonville sheriff's officer comes out. And he's asking me all kind of questions. What are you doing? Got some ID on you? And I said, I didn't give you my ID. I said, I'm not doing anything illegal. And I said, well, I'd like to remain silent. I exercise my Fifth Amendment right to remain silent. So he gets on the radio and he says, he calls dispatch and he says, yeah, we got a Whiskey Mike here. Well, first of all, he called me a Signal 13, which is a suspicious person. So Signal 13, we got a Whiskey Mike here with a video camera. So
those are dangerous, from what I hear.
Yeah,
they can be a weapon.
Remember the guy that?
So Whiskey Mike is white male with a video camera.
Yeah.
The terrorist of today. Anybody that shines the light of transparency on corruption or anything like that, or double standards. If you dare try to do that, they're going to label you as a terrorist or.
Right, and now, I mean, it seems like, obviously, through all your videos I've seen, it's the guy comes up, oh, hey, it's you again, and you're, oh, yeah, you know me, I'm a good guy. But I know that there was recently, and I think it might have been Daniel Solomon that actually called one of the sheriffs or whatever for you, and the person they talked to had some words of advice for them to give to you. What was the whole circumstances with this guy saying? Talking about like you needed to get a new hobby or something like that. What happened there?
Well, from the guy that called is a long time subscriber to my YouTube channel, and he's a really good guy. He's a friend of mine. His name is Paul Leeson, and he does the call flood thing. He's helping everybody out by calling, and that's a really important thing to do. I can't stress enough. Is to call and help your fellow citizen out when there's something going on. But anyway, I was in Baker County. I was filming in Baker County Sheriff's Department. There's a whole story behind that. It's a $32 million complex in a poor community. And they came out and they detained me for videography and photography, and they illegally searched me. So Paul, I put the video on YouTube. That's my most recent video. And so what Paul did is he called the Baker County Sheriff's Department. He spoke to the sergeant of the internal affairs, and the sergeant basically told him, well, look, we're not going to do anything about this. Yeah, I've seen the video. I saw what happened. But unless Mr. Gray comes down here and does a complaint himself, we're just not going to do jack crap about it. And by the way, if he's your friend, you might want to encourage him to take up a different hobby and maybe take out some life insurance, because what he's doing is it's kind of dangerous. Because these younger guys, he's talking about his sheriff's deputies. He said these younger guys, they're a little more jumpy, and and he starts talking about my iPhone. It could be a camera gun or a phone gun or a phone bomb or something like that. So they act like they're so scared of the citizen, and they're always trying to say that they're in fear for their life and they need to get home to their family. So they're going to trample over our rights and shoot us and charge us and falsely charge us and put us in jail so they can get home to their family at night. Forget to protect and serve and honor their oath to uphold and defend the Constitution.
Yeah, it seems like they're all afraid of their own shadow at this point.
Yeah, that's what they say. That's the excuse they use, to violate our rights. They think that officer safety, and that's the thing. We've let them get away with it so long. And the show Cops has conditioned so many Americans to accept, and that's nothing but a propaganda show. Cops, that it's a propaganda show that's conditioning the American people to behave the way we behave now, and it allows the cops to do what they do and, get away with what they get away with. Pretty much.
If you don't mind, I saw a video a while back of someone who was filming at the end of a runway at an airport in New York, and they were arrested at gunpoint for it. Some sort of, they thought the camera was a gun or something.
The whole terrorist thing, we're seeing a lot of reports now of cops saying that they think that your iPhone is a camera gun or something like that, and there's never been a reported case in the United States of America of any kind of camera gun.
I wonder if you need a background check to get one of those or not. One thing that I don't think that we've really touched on at all, and it's what's your experience with, not just the police, but what about the everyday citizen that sees you out there and you're being active and you're questioning police? What kind of response have you had, interactions with just the everyday people with education and making them more aware?
Well, I do get a lot of messages on, not to toot my own horn or anything like that, but messages where people thank me and they, you've encouraged me, you've taught me, you've done something you've taught me something that kept me from possibly getting arrested by, to show me how to film the interactions and how to assert my rights. But then, the people that I work with, they don't seem to get it. They think you're out there screwing with the cops again. You're out there antagonizing the cops again, and that's kind of the way they look at it. Like I'm just out there, why don't you get a real hobby and do something else? They don't get it. We all get that. CopBlock gets a lot of that on their comments and everything. Why don't you guys grow up and get a job or something? That type of thing.
Yeah, it's kind of like that one video where there's you guys in the truck were mockingly imitating me.
Yeah.
Not sure if you ever uploaded that.
So.
Now, what was that one you were talking about?
I don't know.
What was the truck? What was
two guys in a red truck were imitating him with their iPhone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure if you uploaded that one. So.
Yeah, it's been a while back. Yeah, I've forgotten about that one. But if you guys don't mind, I want to make sure and say this before we get off the air or anything. Back years ago, the only time that I've actually been arrested, I've been arrested one time during all this, and that was back when 2012, April 2012. And that was in Lottie, Florida. And what I was doing is I had my speed trap sign. I was warning motorists of the speed trap in Lottie, Florida. And I got arrested, and I called a demo, and it was the next day. And back then, a demo didn't really know me from anything. I think he had published a couple of my videos on CopBlock, and I sent him an email and told him, I've been arrested, and can you help me out? And the guy, Damo's calling me back. I left him my phone number. He's calling me back in 5 minutes later. I'm on the phone with Damo Freeman. And he's like, what's going on, Jeff? Tell me what's happening. And he's writing this stuff down. And, here I am. I'm like 15 years older than Damo. And he's talking to me like he's my big brother. Jeff, it'll be all right, man. Keep your head up. I know it sucks. You got arrested. And he said, I'm going to put this story out there. I'm going to organize a call flood for you. We're going to put pressure on them. And, he just based on my word. There was no video at the time because the Lottie police officer still had possession of my video and his weapon and all my other property. And he just takes my word for it. He publishes a video on CopBlock, and they organized a call flood. And it was very, very important in putting the pressure on the Bradford County Sheriff's Office and the Lottie Police Department into dropping charges. And I just, Damo, he's the real deal. He's sincere. He's sacrificed. He's been the subject of malicious prosecution and put wrongly in prison. We all know that because of the wiretapping bull crap that they've charged him with. And he's the real deal. Pete Air, he's the real deal with CopBlock. Those guys are genuine American heroes, in my opinion. I just want to make sure and get that out there. And Carlos Miller too. He's the real deal too.
Yeah, we talked to Carlos not long after we started the show, and that was a great conversation to have. So,
I was actually very blessed as I'm talking to a demo about what my arrest in Lottie, And, looking back on it now, it's not that big deal, but to me at the time it was a big deal because it was my first arrest, and I was kind of, dejected and kind of down on my spirit. And Demo's giving me a pep talk, and then I've got Carlos Miller. I sent him an email too, and he's calling me on the other line. So I'm talking to Demo Freeman and Carlos Miller at the same time. So that was pretty cool.
Meanwhile, I was almost running around the house screaming.
Yeah, my wife was freaking out. So that was pretty cool. And that goes back to the call floods and all of us supporting each other, and kind of turning the tide back against, the state having all the power and all the say so, and the cop's word against your word. So that's very important.
Reminds you of stuff like when shrugged or something.
Yeah.
What was that?
It was my son. He was talking about Atlas Shrugged.
Oh, man, you're a great dad, Jeff. Did you say your son was 13? He's 13 years old and he's talking about Atlas Shrugged.
Yeah.
He's going to go far in this world. That's awesome.
Yes. He's a good boy. Good kid. Yeah.
So it's a lot of the times you can be heard calling a lawyer. Do you have any advice about how to, economically have a lawyer to call?
Well, like I said, I'm very blessed about that. Eric Friday is the attorney that you hear me calling some of my videos, and he got involved. He saw the video where I got arrested in Lottie. He's a Second Amendment attorney on the side. He works for Florida Carry. So he saw what happened when the Lottie police were talking about my firearm and everything. So that's how he got involved. He likes what I do. He's a genuinely concerned about civil liberties and everything. So, that's a unique situation with me. I know that it's a blessing to have. And attorneys, man, unless you got a guy like Eric Friday, I know.
They won't take it up at all.
Unless there's, I had an attorney and I appreciated his honesty. He said, look, man, he said, unless there's money, hanging low, like low fruit on the tree, they're just not going to be interested in it. It's just kind of, and to be honest with you, a lot of these attorneys are just as ignorant of the law as the law enforcement officers seem to be, which is kind of discouraging too. But there are good
isn't
ones
that
out
a sad
there.
statement? So we got about 7 minutes left before we have to let you go. Do you have anything else you want to talk about?
No, not really. Just the whole thing about, I would like to see, a lot more Honor Your Oath channels out there. The other people, doing their own thing, making up their own YouTube channels, getting out there. If you're driving down the road and you see somebody's been pulled over, and maybe you see they're searching their vehicle or something like that, if you have the time, stop. Get out, get on the public sidewalk, and document it, because you could be protecting a citizen from being wrongly imprisoned, like the situation with Antonio Bueller. If that guy hadn't got out and documented what was going on and shown that the Austin Police Department officers were just full of crap, then he could be in jail right now. He could be in prison. It's it's all about protecting each other. From an out of control police state. Let's just be honest about it. It's completely out of control. Just get out there and videotape it. If you don't want to stop and videotape something that somebody else is getting involved in, at least protect yourself, at least protect your family, and document what's happening. If you get stopped, turn your camera on. You got to have a camera on to protect yourself. That's the most important thing.
So you got to do the whole, if you see something, film something.
Yeah. Don't let them. Never let a cop search your vehicle. Don't answer any questions. Everything that you say can and will be used against you. They mean that. They'll twist it and turn it around, and they'll lie. And if you think you're innocent, and they want to search your vehicle, and you say, yeah, I got nothing to hide, go ahead and search. Well, maybe one of your children's friends was on some sort of kid narcotic, like Prozac or something, and their prescription drug fell out in a floorboard, and now all of a sudden you're being charged with a felony, like in the state of Florida, if you're in possession of a prescribed narcotic, and it's not prescribed to you, that's a felony. You never know. So never let the cops search your vehicle. Always assert your right to remain silent. Ask them if you're being detained or if you're free to go. Videotape everything, and you don't have to give them your ID if you're the passenger, if you're not operating a motor vehicle. Just know your rights and document everything.
When it comes to the cops, it's like, oh, please give me your ID.
Yeah. So that's pretty much sums it up.
Cool. Well, I'm glad that you managed to get on tonight, and we didn't have to wait till next week. I know Scott was saying that we might have you next week, but yeah, it was great to have you on this week because I've been watching your stuff for quite a while as well, and I think as well as Adam and Scott. So thanks for coming on, Jeff.
More people that get out there and do it, the better.
It's completely true there.
Yeah,
thank you so much.
Hopefully you guys will have Daniel Solomon on next week, because I will definitely be listening to that, because that guy is freaking awesome.
There you go, plugging other people again, man. Jeff, thank you so much, man. You rock. Keep up the good work.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thanks, Jeff. Thanks for coming on, man.
All right, thanks for what you guys do. It's a good show, man. I love it.
Thanks. Keep tuning in. Check us out on the podcast too. You know, hopefully next week. I know that Daniel was like, "Hey, man, I can't get in," but I'll listen to it later on. So check us out and spread the word. We appreciate it.
Yeah. 10-4. I will. I'll promote you guys in my videos and everything too. So,
Cool. That's Jeff Gray from. You can find him on YouTube as Honor Your Oath.
So, we have 3 minutes here. Do we want to do the Dick of the Week?
Yeah, let's go for it.
So I'm not sure if the name rings a bell, but there's an ex-police officer, and his name is John Pike. And John Pike is a former University of California Davis police officer. And John is the most famous meme cop in the entire world, in the entire interwebs. The pepper spray cop from the Occupy. The Occupy. I mean, it seems like this guy is everywhere. This guy is basically the rock star cop. I mean, on our side, we give him all the PR that he needs. So did you guys hear what happened?
Not until you told me.
Yeah, only from you.
Yeah. Oh man, I was loving it. So this is something that I was kind of keying in on. If you get hurt at work, if you are, working and you have a fall, or you get, hurt, you get hit by some piece of equipment or something, that's what workman's comp is for. And apparently John, who was the pepper spray cop, who was then let go, relieved of his duty. I'm sure he spent some time on paid leave after this incident and was only let go after, all the pressure that was put on. But he apparently has a claim for workman's comp for a nervous system or a psychiatric injury. So there's a hearing coming up that UC Davis will be attending. They didn't really give a lot of information, but that guy is a fucking dick.
If it's self-inflicted, if it's premeditated and self-inflicted, because he did this willingly, isn't that like fraud? If you claim
it can be denied.
Yourself?
It can be denied.
All right. So after the break, we have a whole bunch of things to talk about since we only got a half hour left. So stick with us through the commercial. You are listening to the Cop Block Radio Show on FPRN Radio.
Tired of living in a violent society? If every citizen was armed, no one would be dumb enough to shoot people. It's exactly the ethos our founding fathers had when they wrote the Constitution and then changed it, which is what makes it sacred now. Come mingle with safety-minded people like you at the Liberty City Gun Club. Our nation is still the world leader in one thing: armaments. Nothing says excitement like a night out with a small caliber semi-automatic weapon. Get social at the Liberty City Gun Club.
Well, yeah, it's getting tough out there. Yeah, no doubt. I work in home invasions, mostly. Some murder, occasional rape, if she's hot, or really bitchy. And I'm a huge advocate of gun control, absolutely. Every time I kick in a door or smash a window, I face the possibility of being shot and killed. Allowing citizens to own guns creates a hostile work environment for me and my associates. No one should have to work under those conditions. I say make them all illegal, absolutely. I mean, I break the law for a living. I'm a professional, so it doesn't really bother me. No doubt. No doubt.
Your local violent criminals work hard and put their lives on the line every time they attempt to murder, rape, abduct, or assault a member of the citizenry. They desperately need your help. With your support, there may finally come a day when a violent criminal can have his way with you or someone you love without the fear, anxiety, and stress caused by knowing there's a possibility his victim might be armed. Please show your support by voting for stronger anti-gun legislation, because criminals prefer unarmed citizens.
Nothing is more American than Diamond Gusset jeans. 100% American made since 1987. Soft and broken in from the start, yet more rugged and durable than any jean you've ever worn. Have you ever experienced missized jeans from China? Well, you won't with Diamond Gusset. Every pair is crafted to fit exactly the same and always feel like they were custom made. Need a 35, 37, or 39 waist? How about a 31 inseam? We keep all sizes in stock for the fit you need. Looking for a relaxed fit, slim fit, regular fit, boot cut, or straight leg? We got you covered. Buy the world's best fitting jeans at Gusset.com or call 1-888-8GUSSET. Get free Gusset targets for the next time you go to the shooting range with the purchase of their new Ranger jean. Use code COMFORT when ordering to receive free shipping on all Gusset orders at Gusset.com. That's Gusset.com to get only the best all-American jeans.
Do you have a group or organization founded on the principles of personal liberty, health freedom, or accountable government? We invite you to check out Same Side Entertainment. Same Side is a source for activists and liberty organizations to connect with well-known leaders in today's growing movement for sustainable living, personal liberty, and sovereignty issues. Same Side has a variety of keynote speakers, debate panels, interactive web presentations, musicians, and liberty-based entertainment, as well as services for web design, graphic design, video, and photography. Same Side can help customize your event by connecting you to the best of the liberty and political world while staying within your budget. Get connected with leaders in the liberty movement like Tom Woods, Kevin Gutzman, Jack Hunter, Robert Scott Bell, Bob Murphy, Michael Scheuer, John Bush, Jordan Page, Tatiana Moroz, and many more. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and our website at www.samesideentertainment.com. Again, that's www.samesideentertainment.com. Same Side Entertainment, connecting you with the education and resources you need.
To think something so small could control you.
And everything you do.
When your life and all you love are on the line.
The RFID chip is always with you, threatening your privacy, causing severe risk to your health and personal safety, and killing you if you do not obey rogue government demands.
Because I want to increase my risk of cancer.
Because I want to live in a cash-free society.
Because now the government is looking out for us. Because I have the mark of the beast, but it doesn't have me.
Ask your doctor how to get your chip implanted today.
because we want to track your every move.
Thanks for listening to FPRN. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Twitter. You can listen live at www.fprnradio.com.
Sometimes it takes a wake-up call to put things into perspective, show you what really matters. So easy to lose it all. Let us all have that wake-up call. What if we were really free?
And welcome back to the CopBlock Radio Show on FPRN Radio, and hopefully syndicated across the interwebs, or you can download the podcast version. That's how you might be listening to it right now. You can get that at fprnradio.com in the archive section. And in the archive section, it also has a link to copblock.org, where you can find all the show notes. So we'll post links to all the stories and any other relevant information that we talk about during the show. So if you can't get a address or something when we're talking about it, you can go over there and you can just click on the link and it'll send you right to where it needs to be. So do we have more about this the dick of the week?
No, up that guys. He sucks. He took up enough of our time. He will be forever memorialized on the memes of Pepper Spray Cop.
We don't need to give him any more reason to apply for more pain and suffering or whatever he's applying for.
Yeah.
We really need to get on top of this so we can solicit a poll so we can get the dick of the week out there. And I had talked about previously, we should totally make up a little dick of the week certificate and mail it to the dick of the week. I think that would.
So you would have to go through a remailer though, like one of those services that you basically mail something to somebody in some part of the country, then they remail it for you so it doesn't have any information, because they're probably going to mail you some anthrax.
That's all right. I since I'm in New Hampshire now, I'm sure there's plenty of places we can mail it from, and Liberty activists will be all about using that as a return address.
Here's a weird question. If something is a free download, that means like it's pretty much there, right? You don't have to worry about copyrights.
Depends.
So the song that we're trying to get here just says it has a free download. If it says free download, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, them themselves are releasing the free download. The artists themselves.
Yeah, it's from the artist's website. Just saying. Anyway, moving on. I digress.
So, unfortunately, neither Scott nor I did what we said we were going to do last weekend.
I attempted, man. I talked, and I even talked to Josie. It's like, hey, I want to come down to Smokedown, and it was supposed to be like a solidarity thing. Everybody was going to smoke down, sit in, and it sounded like the police presence wasn't there, but they still handed out some bills and detained some people, and it sounded like everybody just kind of, dispersed or whatever at the end of the night. But they were supposed to do it for, the whole weekend. So, I tried. I was hoping to get there, but, my schedule didn't permit me to go on Friday.
Yeah, and I was originally going to head over to Manchester, and then on, I believe it was either later that same night last week when we recorded the show, or early the next day, there was a post put out that there are some new movers for the Free State Project, and they're having a house welcoming party. So a ton of us ended up going to that instead of making the trek over to Manchester. But it was really cool because who knew you'd, all these people that you'd, like, for the people who are already here, them, but then we all go to somebody's house and make them feel welcome. We bring lots of food and have a big old party, and also have a state rep show up to the party and hang out, which is totally awesome.
Yeah, I can honestly say I would never expect that, because it wouldn't happen here. And I've, even whenever I was with the HLA, we had some state reps that wouldn't even come and speak to, liberty groups that they supposedly represent.
Yeah, and we have reps showing up to drink a beer with the rest of us, so it's good times. He brought a lot of food, too.
Did he really? That's awesome.
But on that note, what did happen in Manchester, for those who don't know, Manchester has, or the Peaceful Streets Project Manchester chapter has somebody who has one of those projection lasers where they can spell a bunch of words. So they always tout that out and hook it up and project, police checkpoint on the building, right before a turnoff, so people can avoid the unconstitutional checkpoint that lays ahead of them. And they haven't had problems in the past, but suddenly this Saturday, the police hassled them and gave a citation to the owner of the green beam, as they call it. And the exchange between the cop and the owner, as well as, I believe his name's William Koscheck. He used to be a state rep, but he's a liberty-minded activist. So they ended up citing him with some odd ordinance that says they need a permit for a sign and all this mumbo jumbo. And if you go read the ordinance, it specifically says in the first paragraph, permanent. So this is a temporary sign. So I'm not sure, they don't really need a permit for that, but the cop said if you don't shut it off, they were going to take it. So he didn't want his, couple $1,000 laser beam stolen. So they had to give in, but they're taking it to court, and there is a fundraiser for funds for the legal defense to take this to court. And I'll post that in the show notes, because I don't have a easy link to get to it. But there's a regular FRN donation, and as well as Bitcoin. So I'll post that in the show notes.
So basically, they threatened them to take the sign down, or the laser beam down, because they were warning people of the illegal traffic stops they were doing up ahead.
Yeah, they never had a problem in the past. And then suddenly tonight it was a problem, or last Saturday it was a problem. And but yeah, the ordinance that they cited him as, it says permanent in the first paragraph, which this is obviously not a permanent sign, so it's exempt from that whole ordinance as far as I can read.
Yeah, it's kind of like, how dare you let people know we're doing illegal things ahead.
Stuff that we announced weeks prior.
Yeah, one thing that we were talking about last night, that Jeff and I were talking about, was how, it doesn't matter to the officer. It doesn't matter if they arrest somebody, they detain them, they infringe on their rights, because there's absolutely no repercussions for it. So what does it matter to them what the outcome is? It doesn't matter at all.
Right.
So they're going to take that guy's property. If he gets it back, he gets it back. If he doesn't get it back.
I know. We have an activist here whose camera was stolen like a year ago, probably even more, and he still hasn't gotten it back from the police. I don't know if you've heard about that story.
No, I just remember I think it was from Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree, whenever they had the, it was Ian Freeman's, like CD player or something like that, whenever they were playing it in the gazebo in town. And it was funny whenever Ian's sitting there in court and he's like, that was my property and it was seized and I've never been compensated for the time that I lost or I could not use it. And you know what? He was right.
I know. We talked about Garrett Ian's camera being stolen from him under this affidavit that hasn't been made public, and they actually pushed back the date. He went on the 26th to see the affidavit, and they pushed back the seal time to August 6th. But I wrote to him, I'm like, well, it's a camera, so why don't you charge industry standard rental fees? So when you get it back, send them a bill for the rental fees. It's 20% of the value per day, bill 4 days per week, 3 weeks per month, and then send them a bill for for that time. Even though it would be pennies because it was a relatively inexpensive camera, but it would still be great to send them a bill.
Would that be like taking your local tax, your local tax bill back and saying, no, I didn't, want any of these services. I got this bill and I don't want to pay it.
Yeah, and then send the bill to collections because they refuse to pay.
Oh,
I think that'd be hilarious.
Taking it one step further.
Nice.
So, anything else you guys want to talk about tonight?
We got tons of stories to talk about.
Every week we have like so many things. It's just like a never-ending flood of shenanigans or Joe Nazari douchebaggery.
Well, we had the good story in there. DC just opened up their first dispensary the other night for medical marijuana. That was good stuff. Didn't have any problems on their first day of business open.
Nice.
So that was a good thing.
So I think both of you posted there was a 95-year-old man who was living in a senior center so he's 95 and he was shot by the police with beanbag rounds and ended up killing him.
After being tasered.
Oh, after being tased? So I guess
first was the taser, then the beanbag round. Because that was necessary on the 95-year-old man.
So that dude survived the Great Depression.
Yeah, this guy it says he was wielding a 12-inch blade and a cane. So apparently that's
I don't know about you, but a 95-year-old man. Most 95-year-old men ain't gonna rush you very fast.
No. They're probably going to break their hip on their own.
Oh my god, I got stupid videos trying to play. Oh my god.
I can hear that.
Yeah. But it's kind of ridiculous. I don't know any 95-year-old man who could, even if he had a 12-inch blade, could inflict deadly force anyways.
I mean, really, was he a threat? Really? I mean, did you read the story? The story actually said that they were trying to involuntarily commit him to a center of some sort. So basically, he didn't want to go, and they were forcing him, and he was defending himself, basically. He was like, no, I'm not going with you. And so he pulls out a knife. I mean, the man was pretty justified from the sounds of me. He was defending his own right not to go.
Yeah. All right, so in other poor decisions... I believe both of you posted this one as well. In Fort Worth, Texas, police shot a 72-year-old man because the lighting conditions sucked. That's pretty much the gist of it. They thought he was pointing a gun at them or something, and it was dark, and they decided to shoot him.
Now, was this the guy at his mom's house or the other one?
I'm not sure offhand.
Because there was the incident with the gentleman that came over to his mother's house and got into her car to get his pack of cigarettes out of it. The police show up because the neighbor called, said they didn't recognize him. Cops show up, start shooting at him because they thought he was a burglar.
That's a different one.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Because there was that one. They ended up shooting at him, hit him in the leg because some neighbor called and didn't recognize him. No warning, no whatsoever. They just started unloading at him.
Yeah, he lived.
Oh, yeah.
So there's some stuff with him.
The latest one that I saw before, it was actually on right before the show started, and I'm not sure where it was. I want to say like Texas or something, California, something like that. It was a college kid who was at a party at his friend's house, and it was either a party or they were hanging out, and he ended up, the cops came and raided the place. The guy was taken into custody, taken to a DEA facility, he was locked in a cage, and he was left there for 4 days.
Almost 5.
Yeah, almost 5. And I guess after day 2, the lights went off. And the guy, no water, no food. He said he was drinking his own urine just to survive. It's 4 days without water. Got to drink something. And there was a settlement that was, I think it was $4 million. Yep. But as of the time of the report, that there was no repercussions for any officers for wrongdoing or anything like that. Of
course not. Yeah, they're not responsible for their own actions.
Yeah.
Now that was the gentleman that was forgotten about in the cell, right?
Yeah, they didn't know. I guess they opened the door and they were surprised to see somebody in there.
We just forgot we locked you in that cage. My bad.
It's like in Austin Powers whenever the one guy goes down the cliff. He's like, "Hello, I'm down here and I'm very much alive."
It's kind of like, oh, we're sorry we left you in the cage for 4 days and forgot about you. Here's $4 million. You're happy now, right? we don't deserve any punishment. We don't do anything wrong.
Here, have some of our stolen money.
Yeah. Have some of the taxpayers' dollars. They won't mind.
That guy actually got a refund. If he was a taxpayer, got a refund.
He did. When he was young enough, he probably got a nice full refund and plus more.
Yeah, that's just ridiculous. I don't know how can we change that individuals are responsible for their own actions and not a third party who pays their salary via stolen money from the rest of us.
I don't know. I think it's the theory of nobody can take responsibility for their own actions anymore. Everybody's like, oh, we just blame somebody else.
Right. The people who are responsible for holding you accountable are not held accountable. How does that work? That's like an oxymoron. That is an oxymoron.
It is, completely.
So, I don't know if you guys saw this, but in Vermont, a man is suing the local police department because he was pulled over and cited for running a red light. Yet the dash cam showed he clearly had not run a red light. So after it went to court and the judge saw the footage, he threw the case out, and now the man is suing for damages in small claims court to beat his original ticket. So I don't know. There's video to go along with this, and this is the dash cam video, which shows that he clearly didn't do anything wrong, and the cop was just trying to make crap up. And then the other one is when he went into court. He had his court date today for the civil trial, and yet no one who was being sued showed up. Only their attorney did. That was it. And instead of giving a default judgment, the judge decided to push it, and we'll see what comes of that when the next date rolls around.
So it sounds like from the producers we have someone up in New Hampshire named Bill. Are you there with us on the line?
I am here. Can you hear me?
Hey, yeah, we can hear you, Bill. Thanks for calling in, man. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Hey, we have about 5 minutes. So it sounds like you want to talk about checkpoints a little bit. So you got 5 minutes, man. Let it roll.
Okay, understood. Any question you want to ask me off the bat, or you just want me to speak?
No, I just thought you were loading a gun or something.
Okay, so I've tried your number a bunch of times, but anyway, what's happening is that we have this green beam. We call it the green beam laser, and it's a fairly powerful laser projector that we use at the police DWI checkpoints to let the drivers know that the checkpoint is ahead. And we've been using this for about 2 years now, probably a dozen or so checkpoints. Never had an issue. They'll come over and ask us questions about it, but never told us to take it down or given us really any serious grief about it. And then last Friday night, we were in Manchester, New Hampshire, doing the local checkpoint, it seems like they had a citation already pre-written with a ordinance violation showing on it for illuminated, unpermitted signage. And they came up to me and said, hey, have you got a permit for that laser? And I kind of laughed and said, no. And he said, you're in violation of an ordinance. And I said, could you tell me the ordinance? And he whips out this citation that was already pre-written and said, yeah, this ordinance. And anyway, they wrote me up for having this illegal, unpermitted, lighted sign. So that was kind of the event. And I've hired a attorney, Seth Hipple, in town here, and we're going to fight it.
Doesn't the ordinance that they cited you for say it's for permanent signs?
Well, the ordinance, which has about 5 pages covering signs, most of the verbiage says permanent, although there are some that say temporary. So they've got the whole ordinance, which covers like 15 different kinds of signs in 20 different formats. So the first thing we've done is filed a motion to get them to tell us exactly which line item are they charging me under, because they can't charge me under all of them. So they need to pick one. So that should help with our defense.
So I heard that they are selectively enforcing this particular ordinance.
Right. My guess is that the police officer didn't just pull this out of his brain. That he was, he didn't just see me and then pull over and say, "I think this is a violation of Ordinance 9.07." I'm sure that somebody from higher up must have said, "We're going to stop these guys tonight if they show up with the laser. This is the ordinance, and if you see them, you're going to charge them with this violation." So it's already pre-planned.
So I believe didn't you guys have a conversation about another sign that supposedly broke this particular ordinance and they weren't doing anything about?
Yes, so I mentioned to him, well, the restaurant across the street, it wasn't actually breaking the ordinance, but I used it as an example because he told me that it was not an arrestable offense, and if I did not shut it off, he would give me a ticket. And I said, okay, fine, I choose not to shut it off. And then after he gave me the ticket, he says, now you have to shut it off. I says, wait a minute, we had a deal that I could leave it on. And he said, no, and if you leave it on, I'm gonna confiscate it. And I said, so the restaurant across the street, if they have a lighted sign, if it didn't have a permit, would you climb up on the side of the building and take it down? Would you come here with a truck and a ladder truck and confiscate their sign? He said no. And I said, well, what makes you think you can steal my personal property? And he said, because it's right here in front of me and it's easy to take it. So I chose not to let him take it because it's rather delicate and I didn't want it to get hurt.
Did anybody by any chance, record any of this interaction?
Yes, it's all on video.
Can you tell our listeners where they can find it?
Yeah, I'll put a link to it in the show notes.
Sweet.
Yeah, yep. And yes, if you link to my video, I'd appreciate it because I'm going to have some significant legal fees here, and I have a chip-in up on the video.
So yeah, I'll in the show notes that will be up on CopBlock.org after the show. I'll link to the
this
video.
This whole thing is already on the front page it's in the rotational image on the top of the page on CopBlock. Thanks to Pete.
Nice. All right, then then you can go straight to CopBlock.org, and there'll be a link to the chip-in, and I believe there's a Bitcoin address as well.
Well, it was nice talking to you. I appreciate you letting me say my piece.
Oh, thanks for calling in. It was short notice when I posted to have somebody call in, so it was great that somebody could.
Excellent. You guys are doing great work. I appreciate it, and have a good night.
All right, thanks a lot, Bill.
Hey, you too, Bill.
Okay, bye.
So I guess that was perfect timing. So that's all for the CopBlock Radio Show for this week. Make sure to tune in on Saturday for Line of Fire, and tune in next week or download podcasts for previous weeks if you get bored. So you're listening to the CopBlock Radio Show on FPRN. We'll see you next week, and remember that badges don't grant extra rights.
Thanks for listening to FPRN. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Twitter. If you'd like to start your own show with FPRN, advertise with us, or donate to the network or to your favorite shows, check out our website at www.fprnradio.com.
Stayed himself when he put on